In this video, I'm going to be taking a look at LEGO Pirates of the Caribbean, a short-lived LEGO theme that is actually coming back very soon. I want to take a look at everything we saw from this theme, from the sets to the minifigures and even a video game tie-in. So make sure to watch this full video to know exactly why this theme failed and how it's coming back. So what's up LEGO fans, it's LEGO Man Cam, and let's start with the first and only main wave of sets, which was released on May the 1st, 2011, consisting of a strong number of 8 sets. So starting with the only set from the first movie, Curse of the Black Pearl, this is the Isla de Muerta. This set was $20 with 152 pieces and 4 minifigures. The set depicted the ending of the first film and shows the fight between Jack Sparrow and Barbossa, where Jack Sparrow steals some of the gold, giving himself the curse to be able to turn into a skeleton and fight Barbossa. This set is very small, with a molded boat as well, which gives you lots of gold and even has a feature to allow you to change Barbossa between his human and skeleton form. For just $20, I think this is a great first set from the wave, with Elizabeth being an awesome minifigure too, and Jack Sparrow even including an alternate skeleton faceprint. There were then also 2 sets from Dead Man's Chest released, but first let's look at some of these sets from On Stranger Tides, the 4th Pirates of the Caribbean film, which released at the same time as these sets, and is the reason why these sets existed in the first place. First was the Fountain of Youth, a very similar set to Isla de Muerta, once again including 3 minifigures and a skeleton. This set had a very simple yet nice looking build. The vinyl pieces, which were used to simulate a waterfall, work really well, and the minifigures of Barbossa and Blackbeard look great, with Blackbeard's massive molded beard element. At just $20 once again, with 128 pieces, this was another amazingly affordable set, which LEGO could really take some notes on today. Now let's look at the smaller set from this theme, called the Captain's Cabin. At just $12, this depicted the inside of Blackbeard's ship, Queen Anne's Revenge, which we'll see a little later on, and this came with 95 pieces and 3 minifigures. You got the most simple Jack Sparrow minifigure, as well as 2 zombies, and while being small, the build gave you some great pieces, like 2 of these ship in a bottle prints and a world globe, making this just a really nice small diorama. Next is a really interesting set to me, being the London Escape, once again from the 4th Pirates of the Caribbean movie. At just $50, you got 462 pieces and 5 minifigures, building this small house and 2 horse and carts, taken directly from the opening scene of On Stranger Tides. You got 2 soldiers and a coach driver, as well as Gibbs for the first time, but the Jack Sparrow here is who looks really great. He includes this elaborate hair hat mold, which just elevates the figure compared to the previous versions. The building sadly has a very limited interior, however the 2 coaches look nice, even being able to put a figure in the larger one. Overall, this set is just really unique in my opinion, as it comes with some cool figures and a different build, making this set really stand out amongst this theme. Now, as I said earlier on, these sets were all released to tie into the newly releasing at the time On Stranger Tides movie in 2011, releasing just a week after these sets first launched. However, releasing just a further 3 days after the movie, on May 10th, was the LEGO Pirates of the Caribbean video game. This was another classic LEGO TT game that featured levels from all 4 of the movies in one game. This game is so many people's favorites of all the LEGO game, and is something that is completely different to any of the Star Wars or Indiana Jones LEGO games, which we were really used to at the time. I do find it crazy to believe here how the movie, LEGO sets, and video game all released within about a week of each other, which is something that I cannot remember happening in more recent times, such as with something like The Force Awakens, where the sets came in September, the movie in December, and the video game in June of the following year. Anyway, let's get back into some more of these sets, where now we'll look at both of the sets from the 2nd Pirates movie, Dead Man's Chest, being my personal favorite from the series. The first set is one of the most dark names for a LEGO set that I've ever seen, with a lot of people calling this one of the most controversial LEGO sets, and this is the Cannibal Escape. This is showing the scene from the beginning of Dead Man's Chest where Jack Sparrow is about to be eaten and sacrificed to some kind of gods, and this set gives you 4 minifigures, 279 pieces for just $30. Something that I would love to point out is how the box has both of these figures appropriately just labeled as cannibals, which I thought was kind of funny, but regardless, this is actually a really fun set with a small hut and a cage for the cannibals as well as a spit roast. There's then the throne for Jack Sparrow to sit on as well, and of course the cage is a tad downsized from the movie, but it's totally fine for a small set. Again, I think that what stands out about this theme that we've seen so far is all of these really affordable sets that don't feel like you're getting barely anything for your money. They aren't mechs or microfighters, they're fully fledged scenes and sets from the film with high quality figures from the time. And you've got to remember, these are almost 14, 15 years old. Continuing on, the other set from Dead Man's Chest is probably my most underrated set from this entire theme, and this has to be The Mill. At $40, this set depicts the classic scene from the end of the second film and includes 4 great minifigures, being Will and Jack, who you've seen before, but also our only ever Norrington, my personal favorite character from the franchise, but probably the best looking figure in this set is another one of Davy Jones's Pirates, who uses an exclusive head mold and just looks great. The actual build here is actually really nice as well, showing accurately the bell tower as well as the main feature of the set, the detachable mill itself. I love how it has both studded areas on the inside and outside, so you can show that incredible scene from the end of the movie, and I think this is just another great fun playset that does not break the bank. This now brings us to some of the biggest sets from this wave, the first being Whitecap Bay, once again from the 4th Pirates movie. This $80 set came with 6 minifigures and 745 pieces and is a really great fort build, which shows the scene where they attempt to get a mermaid's tear needed for the Fountain of Youth. Minifigure wise, you get Jack and a zombie who we've seen before, but also this other pirate called Scrum, and then the missionary Phil Swift.
Hi, Phil Swift here for Flex Tape.
No, he's literally called Philip Swift. There is then a generic mermaid and Sirena, the mermaid that falls in love with Philip. Looking at the build, this is once again a super unique set, being an actual military fort, which is something that we rarely ever see from LEGO these days. You get 2 small boats as well, and the overall set just looks really strong at an $80 price point, but I think maybe the only extra inclusion could have been the glass tank to keep Serena in. We are now down to the 3 biggest and arguably best sets of this entire theme, with Queen Anne's Revenge being the last set released as a part of this initial May 2011 wave. This, may I say, flagship set of the wave is truly something amazing. At $120 with 1,097 pieces and 7 minifigures, this set perfectly captures Blackbeard's ship from On Stranger Tides. To get the minifigures out of the way, there is 3 zombies, 2 of which who appeared in that cheap Captain's Quarters set. We then have Jack Sparrow and his captain hat as well. There is then a cook and also Blackbeard again, who is still an incredible minifigure, but most importantly here is Angelica, featuring an exclusive hair hat combo and just a great looking minifigure overall. Now moving on to the main attraction itself, this ship is just spectacular. I think what gives it such a rich visual presence are the 9 different dark red cloth elements that are used for the sails. 1 at the front, 2 on the first sail, 3 in the middle, and then 1 at the back, and then even using 2 more as both dressings for either sides of the back of the ship. The flaming skeleton on the front uses a translucent body as well, which I've never seen before, and overall this ship just looks really menacing. There's even a series of bones all around the deck, and then a plethora of skeleton heads at the back. Overall, this is just a stellar set at $120, and with all those cloth and large hull elements, it's not that bad of a deal, making this one of LEGO's best looking ships ever. Before we get on to our next set, I just want to quickly highlight some of the polybags and more special sets that we saw for this theme. There was first Jack Sparrow's boat, then Jack Sparrow himself, and this Pirates of the Caribbean battle pack. There was then also this Jack Sparrow polybag given out with pre-orders of the video game, which is actually the voodoo doll that Blackbeard has, making this a completely unique and exclusive minifigure. The last polybag actually leads us directly into the next set, which is the mini Black Pearl. This is of course Jack Sparrow's classic ship, which was later in November of 2011 turned into a full-size set in the Black Pearl. This $100 set came with 804 pieces and 6 minifigures. Getting the less interesting ones out of the way, we had another Will, Jack, and Gibbs. There was then Will's father, Bootstrap Bill, another of Davy Jones's pirates, but most importantly, of course, was Davy Jones himself, arguably one of the greatest movie villains of all time. LEGO truly went all out with this minifigure, giving him a new beard, hat, and claw. And then getting onto the actual set itself, it just looks perfect. At $100, you get the Black Pearl in all of its glory, once again using 7 pure black sails, adding to the imposing vibe that this ship gives off, and it's just the set that you think about when you think of LEGO Pirates of the Caribbean. I won't go into full detail here as we're going to be looking at this one a little bit later on in the video, so I think let's now just take our final and most recent LEGO Pirates of the Caribbean set ever, which actually released significantly later than this one. In 2017, the 5th Pirates of the Caribbean movie released, titled Dead Men Tell No Tales, but at $200 we got the Silent Mary, which is the biggest and most expensive Pirates of the Caribbean set up to this point, and depicts Salazar's undead ghost ship from the movie. Starting with the minifigures, you get Salazar and 3 of his ghost pirates, as well as an updated and beautiful looking Jack Sparrow, with then Henry and Karina as well, the respective son of Will and Elizabeth and the daughter of Barbossa. Looking at the set itself, this is completely brick built, not using any kind of large hull pieces like the previous 2 ships we've seen, and LEGO even went ahead and included clear stand pieces to make the ship look as if it's kind of floating. The sails are ripped and tattered, and you can even knock an entire one over, and there are then 2 zombie sharks off to the side which look incredibly cool, molded in a gunmetal grey, and a small rowboat too. Don't get me wrong, this set looks cool, but I just don't think it's anywhere near as good as Queen Anne's Revenge or the Black Pearl. Maybe that's just because it's less iconic, but I think I'd personally much prefer a full ship with sails rather than this very bare looking skeleton. This now brings us to the end of all of the sets from this theme, which is actually about to include one more with this new Black Pearl set coming later this year. This set will include 2,862 pieces and is supposedly retailing for $380, which is pretty absurd. From first impressions, this set looks pretty amazing and I love the angled back. It looks to have 8 full cloth elements, with many having accurate rips and tattering, and then a full selection of 8 minifigures as well. You get 3 of Jack's crew, and I especially love this short guy as he was always someone that I really wanted to see in LEGO, such a fun character from the movies. There is then a new Gibbs and Will Turner, but best of all though is this new Barbossa with a new hair hat mold, and then Elizabeth Swann in her dress from the beginning of the first movie. I just wish she had a different face print. Last is Jack Sparrow himself, who LEGO went all out for, bringing back that hair hat mold, but giving him an updated torso and leg print, even with dual molding on the legs to show brown boots, and the torso has a base color of white this time, which I'm not too sure about. I'm thinking maybe the figure would have looked better if they used blue for that base color. The name of this set, as you can see on the box, looks to be called Captain Jack Sparrow's Pirate Ship, which sounds so stupid. I'm wondering if this is some kind of Slave 1 type of deal, where maybe LEGO doesn't want to use the word black, but I genuinely have no idea. Regardless, at $380, it seems very, very high. I could understand it being $320 since it has those cloth pieces, but $380 is just a stretch. Speaking of prices though, all of these older sets have shot up in value over the past 14 years. Quick editing note, they just revealed this little compass gift with purchase as well, which isn't anything crazy, but it's an extra set, so I figured I'd include it. Anyway, back to the video. So let's quickly compare the prices of all of these sets from their retail to today. First we had Isla de Muerta, which is now about 140 sealed, same with the Cannibal Escape. The Mill is sitting at around 150, with the Captain's Cabin being about 50. The Fountain of Youth goes for around 120, and the London Escape is around 170, since it's a bit of a bigger set. Whitecap Bay is around 230 today, and Queen Anne's Revenge takes the cake though, at over $800. The Silent Mary comes in at just over 400, having not grown as much as the other sets considering it was only released around 8 years ago. But then biggest of all is the original Black Pearl, a set you'd be lucky to find at under $1,000 today. So now that we've looked at all of the sets, minifigures, and the video game for this theme, let's answer the title question of why did LEGO Pirates of the Caribbean fail? And is it actually making a comeback? It's interesting to me just how short-lived this theme actually was when you think about it. It had 9 sets in its first year before not getting anything for another 6 before we've seen another set. I think ultimately a big reason for this is just because of the franchise of movies not having the best performance since 2011 when that 4th movie came out. The 4th film was not as well received as the first 3, and the franchise has been pretty quiet ever since. We did get Dead Men Tell No Tales, but it wasn't really anything of a critically acclaimed film, with a lot of fans, including myself, feeling that it was generally kind of a pointless movie and didn't really justify its own existence despite making $800 million at the box office. Since then, of course, Johnny Depp has been completely quiet and kept out of the news. I'm only joking. There was that world-stopping court case between he and Amber Heard, which certainly has not meant smooth sailing for this franchise. But from then on, over the past few years, there's been countless rumors of a reboot starring Margot Robbie or a 6th film with Johnny Depp coming back. Regardless, this franchise just isn't as stable as Marvel or Star Wars, and without a constant flow of new content to generate excitement, there hasn't been enough demand for new LEGO sets, despite how great these original 2011 sets were. I mean, their aftermarket values prove that there is demand. What also adds to these LEGO sets perhaps not performing the best is the lack of interest in pirates as a theme in general, one that was once upon a time one of LEGO's best alongside castle and space. It just seems as though, similar to how Lord of the Rings sort of failed to birth a new castle evergreen theme, Pirates of the Caribbean failed to do so for pirates as well. We saw a short-lived theme in 2015 full of homages to the original LEGO Pirate sets, but it just didn't sell enough for LEGO to continue making more. So do I think this theme could return? Well, yes, because it actually already has, but in a much bigger way, more so than just a one-off 18+ collector set. I think it could. It just depends how this new Black Pearl does. I mean, can Captain Jack Sparrow's pirate ship actually sell? It sounds stupid just saying that sentence. Of course, a new Pirates movie in the next few years could definitely change this, with LEGO having a great working relationship with Disney, but I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. I'm just scared that $380 is way too high for the average consumer for this set, essentially the price of all 8 of the first wave of sets in one, making LEGO think that maybe people don't actually want to see more Pirates of the Caribbean sets, which I think we do. We just don't want ginormous, massive sets. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please let me know in the comments if there's any other LEGO themes you'd like me to take a look at in a video like this, and please subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.